It's actually directly on you.
Oh, awesome.
It's lost, just what I want.
Do you want the podium camera or audience camera?
Can you aim the camera so it's not just on me?
This background.
Sets it down.
Do you need the presenter button?
Yeah,
Everybody's doing. I did pretty.
I did it like Aaron does it.
Oh, she print?
I don't know why. I did it like you did. Yeah.
Did you print? I didn't. So yeah, we need to present them. And she's
We
prepared.
don't need the camera. That's sweet.
What did you do with all the balloons? You popped them?
It was funny. Who popped the first one?
But I don't even think anyone jumped in.
Oh, did it go everywhere?
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Not still.
Is anybody there?
And I got green.
Thank you for all that work of tying them off, just pop them in 5 minutes later.
No, nobody's off.
Literally, it's my own fire.
Somebody could have had done an experiment and see how long it takes them to like shrivel up.
Oh, okay. Where did you get the?
Yeah, that'd be funny. I don't, did you guys ever watch that show Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
It's like an episode where Anne starts working at the Parks and
Oh, it's
Rec.
working now. It's not changing that.
We could have done that to someone. Right, coming up next.
You don't need it on.
Like, I see them all the time.
It's switched.
We'll do that for the kids project, the show videos. Up on their door.
Oh, there we go.
Little
Then you
balloons
go.
when they open
You
their
don't want
door.
it on any of that.
That's so cute. I would.
Oh, we want it on this, right?
Yeah.
No,
Call Spiro's office for respect from the
I
watching.
don't even on Zoom.
There'd be so many alerts.
Horrible.
Is he supposed to come? Well, he usually comes.
Whatever. I don't feel like it matters. No one's even on, right?
Yeah, no one's on.
Position.
Okay. Good, good.
But I'll find out.
And you'll just put it on present or not?
I have a meeting.
Good,
No,
okay.
we're fine.
Okay, now you start.
It's recording.
Is it recording here?
Yes,
Already.
like I started doing it, because I know we talked about it, but I actually did.
Are we fine?
People that would just know.
Yes.
Thank you folks for joining us. Sorry for the delay. So today in CAIANH, in our coffee and conversation, we're gonna go over purchasing goods and supplies. On today's agenda, we'll talk about allowability, marketplace, Amazon, the P card, travel card, your personal card, technology, resources and tools, and talk about the next coffee and conversations. And I added some slides of geese flying because at home right now in Alaska, it's bird season and people are getting ready to hunt for birds. And I'm homesick. Alrighty, we'll start with Sarah.
So as usual, we're gonna start with talking about allowability. So no matter what you're purchasing, you wanna first think about whether or not it's allowable, and that's according to both the university policies and the sponsored project policies. I like to remind everyone here that the university policies are not actually that much more flexible than the sponsored project policies, so just because you're using non-sponsored project funds does not mean you have a ton of freedom of how to purchase things and what you're allowed to purchase. So when we're thinking about university procurement rules, we want to think about the code of ethics and the test of propriety, which we've gone through many times, but I would just like to think about it if someone from the public found out that you were using university taxpayer dollars for this purchase, would you feel uncomfortable or would you be, embarrassed that they knew that? So it's a good test for yourself whether when you're trying to decide whether or not a purchase is appropriate on university funds. And then when we're thinking about the sponsored project funds, we usually think about the federal cost principles for most of our projects. And then we also within that, there's a lot of sensitive expenses that come with that are like listed within the cost principles. So those are listed there, very tiny. But we have from both the university policies and the federal cost principles, this is the list of often sensitive or unallowable expenses. And you don't have to memorize these, but you should have a sense, like if you're about to purchase one of these items, there should be a little bit of a flag that goes up in your head that thinks maybe I need to stop and think about whether or not this is allowable on the project. And what we do at CAIANH is we first fill out this unallowable and sensitive cost justification form if we are going to purchase one of these items or use a mechanism that's not recommended, which we will go through a bit in the next few slides. So if you're not sure if your purchase is sensitive or unallowable, go through the form stack, soon to be smart sheet, and it will prompt you to fill out this form. So don't have to have it memorized, just make a habit of always filling out that form stack / smart sheet before you make a purchase. And so the top list, those bullets are the items that are sensitive, and then the other things are ways that we purchase that need to be justified. So that is if you are trying to get something purchased and not have it shipped to a CU location, which is like most 99.5% will not accept that. So trying to just have it delivered here. And then the other thing is if you're making a purchase outside of Marketplace that is available on Marketplace, which I'll talk about next. So the cost justification form is your first step, and that's just for mostly auditing purposes. So if we look back and we say why was this purchased, we can easily reference that form and know why it was deemed allowable. So then we would review it and we approve it, and then you can go and make your purchase. And that's what we're going to be spending most of our time on, is how to make these purchases. And the first step there is choosing your purchase mechanism. So listed here are our 4 main purchase mechanisms for supplies and goods. And they are purposefully listed in order of preference of how you should be purchasing them. So Marketplace is first. That's our preferred method for purchasing supplies. And then we use this for technology, like furniture, and also for paying consultants, for honorarium, and for subcontract invoices. And we are going into more detail for each of these in the next slides. And then the P card, our procurement card, is our credit card that we use for small dollar purchases. And things like, FedEx, catering, supplies, and then non-travel conference registration. The travel card we use for when we're in travel status for things like lodging, ground transportation, parking, and official function meals, but not regular meals. Personal card we use as a last resort if you don't have a travel card. And so things for other reimbursements, usually while on a work trip, but we shouldn't be using our personal card very often. So starting with Marketplace, as I said, this is the preferred method at the university and by our team. What is Marketplace? There's kind of 2 different ways that we use it. The first is punch out catalog. So that's just it's almost like purchasing things online. And it's how we purchase things that the university already has negotiated contracts with and agreements with. So that would be things like we have Staples punch out catalog, or office furniture, or different supplies like that. And then the other way that we use Marketplace is for invoices. And so those most often our team uses that for subcontracts and consultants, but you can also sometimes use that for supplies. So if you're working with a one-off company that is charging us for supplies, then we would process that invoice through Marketplace. Marketplace is kind of complicated. I still am like figuring it out, but even though I use it every day, but there's 3 different roles in Marketplace that I wanted to point out. So the first is shoppers. So these are folks that can just use those punch out catalogs and purchase things, but they need to get the requester's approval. And those are for small dollar items. And so not they can't do like the invoicing like I was talking about. So HIP is a shopper, and then a few PRAs are also shoppers if you find yourselves using Marketplace and needing to purchase supplies for your projects often. That would be a reason to become a shopper. And then the next one is the requesters. So these are people who they can do everything that shoppers do, and then they can approve those purchases that are under 10,000 from the shoppers. So shoppers send it to requesters approve it, and then the purchase is made. And then they can also submit purchases that are over 10,000, and then those go to the approver, and the approver approves the purchases that are over 10,000. So those are the 3 roles. McKenna and Lisa are both requesters, although our team has done a good job of separating out our roles within that. So they do very different things in Marketplace, but they're both requesters. And then I'm an approver, and then Erin as of 2 days ago, is a backup approver.
Yes.
Yay! So yeah, we listed kind of the difference of what McKenna is looking at and what I'm looking at in Marketplace. And why do we prefer Marketplace? Why do we say to always do that first? It's because it's easiest, and it makes it so makes it easier to follow all the rules that I was talking about. So there's a lot of systems worked in for approvals that are just like worked into Marketplace, so you don't have to worry as much about meeting those procurement rules. In addition, you always will have that taxes exemption, so you don't have to worry about that like you do with your P card. It also has, it also helps with those contracts that I was talking about. So usually what's in Marketplace is going to be more affordable than outside of Marketplace. And then I think great for you all, there's no additional expense reports. So you can guarantee, since we do like 4 approvals before we've made the purchase, you can guarantee that what you're purchasing is allowable, and you don't have to deal with an after the fact issue where you've purchased something on your P card and then actually it's not allowable. So it makes it so the approvers are upfront and not on the back end, and you don't have to do that expense report, which is just extra work. So next, we're gonna talk about Amazon, which kind of falls in between everything. And it's like newer, I guess it's been like a year now. And I feel like it like defies a lot of the procurement rules. So our team kind of likes to just tell you what's good and bad about using Amazon at the university, and you can kind of go take what you want. So Amazon there's 2 different ways we can use it. We can use it through Marketplace as a punch out catalog, and that is still the preferred method by the university and by our team. Or you can use it with your P card through the business account. So you do need to create an Amazon business account, and then you put your P card in to make the purchase. We think it should be rarely used. We usually are just using it for books, sometimes for supplies for projects. The reason we say that is because the delivery in the last year has been really tough. So it has gotten better, but because our campus does not have a centralized delivery system, we find Amazon doesn't work super well with getting stuff delivered to the right place and to our building. So some tips with that. If you use your P card, you can now get things delivered to the Amazon lockers on campus. So that's a change from when they first rolled this out. So that's one option. And then if you use Marketplace and you purchase stuff to get delivered here, just make sure not to click the 1-day delivery or the free 1-day delivery. It's like the first option, it's very appealing because it's like this will get us, it'll get it there fastest. But what that does is it like it triggers flex drivers. So people who aren't familiar with the campus to like come really fast and almost like an Uber Eats driver. So you don't want to do that because then they won't be able to get into the building and they won't know where to go. So make sure to click the other options. And then always check the first floor mailbox and make sure to leave really detailed delivery instructions. And maybe think about what you're purchasing. If it's a really expensive item, maybe Amazon's not the right way. But still, the rule, no matter what, is still to get things delivered to campus. And now I'm going to pass it to McKenna, who's going to talk more about the comparison between those two.
Sarah? Okay, so Sarah just went over all of this, but we wanted to give you another way to view the information sort of side by side here. So again, you can use either method. Marketplace is likely going to be a lot easier specifically for the delivery challenges that we've been mentioning, but the campus does allow both options. So, again, Sarah kind of has covered a lot of this. I think probably the only thing that really hasn't been covered is just kind of the difference in vendors. So in Marketplace, we do have those larger scale vendors like Staples or other big vendors that we can have those price agreements in place with. With Amazon, there is a little bit more flexibility to support those small, diverse, local, or sustainable businesses. Those are features that you can select when you're searching. So if that's something that you're interested in and the item isn't available through Marketplace, that is a way to support those local businesses. But again, the delivery can be a challenge, and then you might need to request that tax exemption, which all of you that use the P card regularly know that can be a bit of a challenge, and that is built into the Marketplace method. So just some kind of pros and cons here. Any questions about Marketplace versus Amazon so far? Okay, so getting into the P card specifically, we've talked about using your P card a little bit up to this point, but this is the university's credit card program and gives you the ability to make those under $5,000 purchases when Marketplace is not an appropriate choice. So there are detailed instructions on the intranet page on how to use this. And then I recently sent out a calendar reminder to submit your P card reports on the last Thursday of every month. This is really just an effort to help make sure everyone's getting those reports submitted on time. If you have another process that works for you to get your report submitted every 30 days, then keep doing what you're doing. But we just really wanted to make sure to have another kind of layer of support there for folks getting those in on time. I think mostly what we see again is folks using this when Marketplace is not available. So we always want you to go to Marketplace first rather than using the P card when that's possible. But for official functions or respondent compensation, we're going to see those charges on the P card. And when I am looking at your reports every month, I'm always considering all of the policies and principles that Sarah outlined at the beginning and making sure, is this an appropriate purchase? Is there a value to it? Is it appropriately charged to the speed type and to the account code? A lot of times our projects have allocation methods that are built in. I think people have gotten pretty good at this, but I'm looking to make sure if something does need to be allocated between speed types, that's done appropriately and there's a justification for that. And then we always want to see that receipts are attached and legible. So again, reports are due every 30 days. Ideally, that's why I sent that last Thursday of the month calendar invite. Purchases can be taxed if they're not reconciled within 90 days. So just keep that in mind. It does just need to be submitted within 90 days, not approved within 90 days. And I do review those reports every Friday. So every week I'm going through to check in on that. And then we do require a receipt for any purchase over $25, and then other documentation as necessary to tell the story of your purchase. So remember, there's people beyond me that are looking at your P card reports. So we just want to make sure that someone that doesn't have context or maybe hasn't had a conversation with people can see why that purchase was made and then why it was approved. So this would be like form stack approval or gift card authorization forms, things like that. And then one thing we really wanted people to remember, I know our more veteran employees here are really good at doing this, but please be sure to save your P card reports on the G drive in the file char folder. No one's gonna forget that now, so you're welcome. So this is just really helpful if there is an audit, if someone leaves and we have a question. I use this when I'm going through to close out gift card programs to look at purchases and to make sure that those were done in the right way. So this is just really helpful for a variety of reasons. So we really appreciate folks getting back in the habit of saving their P card reports in this folder. Okay, and then just a few reminders. I know there's a lot of text on this slide, but make sure there is that $5,000 limit. So you can't split a purchase to circumvent this limit. If you do need a temporary one-time increase, you can apply for that within Concur, and that is reviewed and approved by a whole host of individuals. But that is possible. Like, you know, if you need to make a really big gift card purchase or something, those do get approved. Always check Marketplace first. You can't use your P card if it exists in Marketplace. And then there's no travel expenses allowed on a P card. So there are some exemptions like conference registration, or if you need to book ground transportation ahead of time for a group, some limited exceptions there, but not much travel. And then no sharing P cards with other staff. This is something that the fiscal team is trying to get a good handle on recently as well. So sharing would be if someone's P card number is saved in your computer and you're not that P card holder and you're using it to like renew a subscription or something, we want to get away from that because that is considered sharing. So you might see us having a little bit more communication about that moving forward. And then no personal expenses, liquor, cashback, like personal meals, things like that. And then make sure all Colorado purchases are tax exempt. If a vendor within Colorado can't give you tax exemption, then maybe that's an opportunity to find a new partner to work with there. So if you do any of these unallowable things, PSC might issue some violations. So this would be kind of repeated violations. They'll give you a warning first, but if you keep doing the same unallowed behavior, you will get a violation. And if you have 150 more points, you do get a 6-month suspension, which would not be ideal. Those are eliminated after 2 years, and PSC really manages that whole process. So I will get an alert as the approving official if there is a violation, and then the card holder and then their supervisor will all be alerted. So that's again why we set up those monthly reminders to submit your P cards on time. If there's anything else that the fiscal team can do to support you all in getting these reports in on time and helping make sure that there's nothing unallowable, please let us know. I think for the most part, people are really good at this and do a really good job. So just keep up the good work. And then I think I know everyone in this room should be set up to have me as the approving official. But if you're not yet, the Concur request steps are linked here in the presentation that we'll share if you need to request me as your approving official. Yeah.
Quick question, and I think I messed this up and I have to look at this every single time. For like booking travel for non-employees, is that P card or travel card?
Like air travel?
Or like lodging or, stuff like that.
So, I mean, if it's with a hotel contract, that's going to be a separate process. That would be paid through a purchase order. I think lodging should be on the travel card, right, Sarah?
Which is not in travel status.
Mhm.
So I have to, gosh, I should have answered that.
We should,
Okay.
yeah,
You
we
just
should
did
do
it.
that.
Yeah. I'll look and I'll tell you.
Okay.
I think the answer might be that they would say to do it through Concur.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
And
you could
not
also
use your
just
P
do it
card.
through Concur and kind of get around that whole thing.
Okay,
And-
the issue is with like Concur, like you can book it, but it doesn't pay for it
Yeah.
beforehand.
still have
Right,
to pay
yeah.
out.
So like that's the issue.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it before for other, but it's non-employees, it's employees though, but yeah, with my travel card, cause I just got a P card and I've done it for non-employees with my travel.
Yeah, and you're, okay. I'll have to let you
I
know.
know that's a weird area.
Yeah,
Because you're not allowed to do it for employees. That was something we learned is that
yeah.
you can't, you're actually, yeah, I'm sure we'll go into this later.
Okay.
but- Great question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Yeah, because I know if you're at the hotel checking in, then you can use your travel card in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive you can use your travel card even if you are not in travel status to pay for a non-employee. That's your question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, travel or P card.
And you have to go through the hotel and fill out a form.
Yeah.
Because you're not there.
But that's weird that you can use the travel card for a non-employee, but not for another employee.
I've only used my P card to do that, not my travel card.
I've done it for other employees before though.
Yeah, we used to do that and we were told that you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And the answer is, I said, but what if I travel once a year? And they said, get a travel card.
And then if
But
you
they don't
use
want
your-
people to have travel.
Right, but then it's
Yeah.
always been the policy here
Yeah.
to not have travel cards.
So.
Okay.
Anyway, great question.
TBD, we'll get back to you. Yeah.
Well, Aaron's answer until we hear otherwise.
Any other questions? And then I always have to look at the handbook, so.
I have like a quick update that might not matter to anybody, but recently came across the PayPal issue, like you can't use PayPal to pay people anymore. And resolved it, cause you can't pay individuals using PayPal or Venmo, but the person just created a business account on PayPal. And so it went through. So it was basically like PayPal like wouldn't charge my card. Like it literally wouldn't go through.
It wasn't an approved vendor.
Yeah.
From US Bank.
Yeah, but it was basically because it was an individual account, not a business account. So he went through and just made a business account for his business,
good.
and then it was fine.
Sign her by any chance.
No, it's for our journal submission service.
So
So,
March Palo operates using a PayPal as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
so as long as they have a business PayPal account, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up.
This is a lot of.
What a good
repeating what we were
segue.
just talking about. It's good because it's confusing. So who has a travel card in here? Amanda, you do, Jen, you do, Lisa, you do.
Nope,
right?
mine was,
So I do also. So they're not everybody has them. There is a guidebook. Or guide, I shouldn't say book, a guidance document on PSC. You should look at it. Everybody should look at it. Travel is really squirrely with the university. There's lots of weird rules. But generally, an overview is you're going to use a travel card to pay for any official university business, with the notable exception of airfare, which you're going to book
And
through. I didn't hear what you said, Jen.
Meals.
Meal, right, yes. So you're going to use Concur to pay for airfare. It's gonna get direct billed to the speed type. Okay, you can use your P card to book travel and rental cars. And you can do that through Concur as well, but just like Amanda just said, if you go to pick up a rental car or you go to a hotel, you're gonna have to present a card. So you can book it through Concur, but you're gonna have to present a card. And so you can use your travel card to do that. If you don't have a travel card and you're an employee, you pay out of pocket and you get reimbursed after the trip. So that's how you get around, or you request a travel card. If you want to request a travel card, just leave some lead time to get that requested and taken care of. And then you have pretty minimal out of pocket expenses, would just be for meals. You can't pay for another employee, we just talked about that, on a travel card, except in rare circumstances where you're in a group of 3 or more. If you think that applies to you, just talk to us first. Because that's often a place where people try to use a workaround. for the procurement rules, so let's just talk about it before you do that, if you run into that issue. You can cover a non-employee travel expenses on a travel card, which we just talked about. The exception is if they are on a scope of work, you cannot cover anybody's travel expenses. If they're on a scope of work, their scope of work should include travel, and they have to pay out of pocket and be reimbursed as an expense. And just like we were talking about, if you pay for a non-employee's travel in any way, if they're going to incur any additional expenses beyond lodging or rental car or whatever the situation is, they have to present their own credit card to cover those incidental expenses. We cannot, and this comes up pretty frequently with lodging, where you have to provide a credit card for incidentals. They need to provide their own card for incidentals. And again, those are non-scope of work, non-employees. See, it's confusing. When you go to do your travel report, you're assigning McKenna, almost everybody in our unit will assign McKenna. And as McKenna just said, she thoroughly goes through and reviews those travel reports to make sure that everything is in order. I think there's somewhat frequently some issues and some back and forth there. That's another place where we didn't specifically say it, but you can also save travel reports in the expense system folder on the G drive. It's slightly different than the P card folder. It's broken down by project, but you can also put it there, and that sometimes cuts down on some of the back and forth. But you may hear from McKenna asking about an expense or asking you to change something about your P card report. Okay. Any questions that we can try to field about travel? Yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
Do we need to save the travel card reports also to the G drive?
Yeah, so that's what I was just saying, like it's slightly different. There's a procurement card folder.
Okay.
There's another one that's I think it's called, what is it called now? It's not called travel card. It's broken down by project.
Okay.
It might just be called expense
system, I think.
Yeah, maybe expense system, and then within that folder it's broken down by project. So if you have a newer project, say RC Tech, and we don't see one in there, just let us know and we can make one for you. But those look a little bit different than the P card reports, but they're very handy to have for us to look back. This happens to us really frequently, and it just avoids us having to come back and ask you for it. It just becomes part of our official record then. So.
And so if we've not saved any of these prior, so probably we can go back to Concur and download the reports and save them
I
there?
don't think you need to do that.
Okay,
Unless we specifically ask you for one, don't waste your time.
Okay.
Just going forward.
works for me.
Yeah. Once you get in the habit of it, you'll do it as part of your routine of doing those reports, but don't worry about going back. Any other questions about travel card? Personal card we just touched on it a little bit. This is kind of the least preferred procurement method for the university. We use it sparingly. It's an option, it's allowable, but we want to use this sparingly. But for any of you who don't have a travel card, that's what you're faced with doing. So as Sarah said, procurement's position on it is if you travel once a year, you should get a travel card, but it is allowable to use personal card for these expenses. Purchases are still, go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, I was just thinking finished.
Purchases are still subject to university, federal, and CAIANH guidelines. Sarah said this on the very first slide. Don't fall into this trap of thinking, I didn't use a procurement card or a travel card, and so therefore there's no rules. It's all the same rules. And in some ways, this is higher scrutiny than not the things that are, because it doesn't go through the normal kind of approval channel. So you can use it, you can use your personal card during travel if you don't have a travel card, and then you will submit for reimbursement after the fact. Yeah, provide itemized receipts. You don't need to do it for food because you're going to get paid back per diem. Everybody probably knows that in here.
I can
Yeah,
think,
go
like,
ahead,
the only thing, one thing that happened one time was that someone was like, oh, I can't purchase this on my P card because it's over $5,000. So I'll purchase it on my personal card. Same thing, like the rules still apply. So they can't reimburse over $5,000. So just, yeah, most of the rules are still gonna apply if you're using your personal card.
Anytime you're like, this is a barrier, but I found a way around.
Somebody tried it.
Make sure you talk to like 3 people about it, and you're like, is that cool?
Risk to take. For sure, they're gonna pay me back that 6,000.
Yeah.
Not something I.
Technology. So of course, everyone here who's purchased a computer or needed a computer, you have to get prior approval. And you go through form stack, which is gonna be changed to Smartsheet. And going through HIP as well, HIP will order technology if it's approved. And he'll also recommend the type of updates, whatever software that your computer might need. And also, we make sure that the allocation of, oh geez, sorry. The allocation of the software and technology is based on whatever project you're working on. So like I said, especially for computers, the first step is to complete the form stack, which is gonna change to Smartsheet. They'll no longer be form stack. And HIP will review all those software requests. Any questions on technology? Alrighty. And if you need resources and tools, just look at the presentation. Here are some that we listed. And just another Smartsheet transition reminder. First, thanks to all those that have helped with testing, and thanks to McKenna and Sarah for creating that. So
You're welcome. You're welcome, Lisa.
So the goal is that all fiscal, HR, travel, and event planning forms will be in Smartsheet starting July 1st. Before then, of course, we'll have training and team demo on June 3rd with live and pre-recorded sessions. And there'll also be weekly office hours from July through September, Mondays 1 to 2 p.m. And there'll be a calendar invite coming soon, so watch out for that. Alrighty, coming up next, the next 2 coffee and conversations, May 6th, pre-award, and June 3rd, of course, the new transition to Smartsheet. Any questions? Nope. Thank you so much for your attention.
Wow, first time we were ever on time.